Welcome to the Vietnamese Poetry, Literature channel. Today we will listen to the fairy tale Thach San. Let's listen. In the past, in Sao Bin district, there was a family of woodcutter Thach Nia. He and his wife were old but still had no children. Grandparents worry about sadness and try their best to do good deeds. He repaired bridges, repaired culverts, dug ditches, and built roads. She cooked water for passers-by to drink. The Thach family's deeds reached the heavens. The Jade Emperor let the crown prince reincarnate into the world as a son of the Thach family. Thach Ba conceived for 3 years, but before giving birth, Thachong died. After that, Lady Thach gave birth to a handsome son named Thach San. A few years later, Thach Ba also passed away. Thach San lived alone in a thatched hut under a banyan tree with a piece of loincloth to cover his body and a hammer to chop wood. When Thach San was 13 years old, the Jade Emperor sent his ancestors to teach him martial arts and all magical powers. One day, a wine seller named Thach, who was selling wine, stopped by a banyan tree to rest. Seeing that Thach San was healthy, alert, and alone, he became brothers and took Thach San home. At that time, there was a python tin in the area that often caught people to eat meat, and the army many times surrounded it and could not attack it. Because it has magical powers of transformation, the king must build a temple and each year sacrifice one person's life to it. That year it was Thach's turn to surrender. When Thach and her mother heard the news, they were frightened and discussed a plan to put Thach San to death. When Thach San came back from collecting firewood, Thach politely invited him to drink wine and said, "Tonight I have to go watch the temple in the forest, but I'm afraid I'll have to leave the batch of wine to guard the temple one night. Please help me watch the temple one night." Thach San happily accepted and left immediately. At midnight, Tran Tin appeared, raised his claws, bared his teeth, breathed, released fire, intending to rush into the temple to eat Thach San's meat. Thach San calmly showed off his skills in fighting with Python Tin. In the end, he cut off its head, burned its body into charcoal, and saw a set of shining golden bows and arrows appear in the temple. Thach San happily put on his hammer, bow, and Python Tin's head and ran straight home. Hearing Thach San's call, Thach and her mother panicked, thinking that Thach San's soul was unjustly eaten by Python Tin. She returned home to complain, and then prayed and begged, "Live wisely, my soul is sacred. Let's go for now. Tomorrow Mom and I will buy golden incense, rice and soup, and a table to make offerings to you." At that time, Thach San clearly knew the intentions and plans of Thach and his mother, but he was not angry and still happily told the story of killing Tran Tin to mother and son. Thach immediately came up with a new sinister plot. It said Python Tin was a treasure kept by the king, whoever killed it would be guilty of a great crime. Thach San was afraid. Thach told Thach San to escape safely. He would personally take care of the arrangements for him. After Thach San said goodbye to Thach's mother and son and returned to the old banyan tree, Thach immediately went back to Kin and told the king that the Python Tin had been eliminated. The king happily rewarded and appointed Thach the position of district admiral. Next, the king held a festival to choose a husband for his daughter, Princess Queen Na. The husband-picking festival lasted for months, but the princess could not choose anyone she liked. One day the princess was walking in the peach garden when another giant eagle swooped down and stole it away. Seeing the bird stealing people flying by, Thach San raised his bow and shot. The eagle was hit by an arrow in its left wing. It used its beak to pull out the arrow and then continued flying back to its lair. Thach San followed the blood trail to find the entrance of the eagle cave. He marked the entrance of the evil bird cave and then returned to the banyan tree. The king sent Thach to find the princess. If he found her, he would marry her, become his son-in-law, and succeed the king. If he couldn't find her, he would be punished. Thong was both happy and worried. He made a plan to hold a 10-day singing festival to listen for news. On the 10th day, when he heard that Thong was holding a festival, Thach San came to visit and told Thong about the eagle shooting. Thong was overjoyed, treated Thach San well and asked him to guide him to the eagle cave to save him. God. Thach San used a rope ladder to go down to the cave to meet the princess and give the eagle anesthetic to drink. The princess promised to marry Thach San, and then Thach San tied a rope to take her to the surface. Thong ordered soldiers to put the princess on a palanquin to take her back to the palace, but he lied and said he would stay and fight monsters. After that, Thong used stones to cover the cave entrance and returned to the court to claim the merits. Not seeing Thach San return, the princess became sad and speechless, not saying a word. The king was sad. Thong's prayers for medicine everywhere were ineffective, and the wedding had to be postponed. After the anesthetic finished, the eagle woke up and performed magical powers to harm Thach San, the red-faced, green-eyed, brave man who dared to destroy his house and steal his wife. Thach San used his martial arts skills and magical powers to destroy the eagle. Looking up at the sealed cave entrance, Thach San walked around the eagle's cave and met the crown prince, son of King Thach, who was being locked in an iron cage by a demon. Thach San broke the iron cage to free the crown prince. The crown prince invited Thach San to come to Thach to meet his father. King Thach thanked him and treated him well. While staying at the aquarium, one day Thach San was walking with the crown prince when a Ho Tin appeared, transforming into a beautiful girl to tempt and bewitch him. Thach San forced it to show its true form as a 9-tailed fox and magically imprisoned it. King Thach invited Thach San to stay at the aquarium and would give him a title, but Thach San refused. King Thach gave Thach San a magical instrument and sent a messenger to part the water to bring him back to earth. Thach San returned to the old banyan tree. Without Thach San, the banyan tree was sad and gloomy. When Thach San returned, the banyan tree was green again as before. The souls of two monsters killed by Thach San, Python Tin and Eagle, meet and try to harm Thach San. They entered the king's treasure trove, stole gold and silver, and threw it into the banyan tree where Thach San lived. The king's soldiers arrested Thach San and put him in prison. The king assigned Thong to execute the crime. Thong put Thach San on death row to cover up clues. While imprisoned in prison, awaiting execution, Thach San played the guitar. The sacred instrument resounds with the sounds of silk, bamboo, carpet bows, and sorrow bows. The palace accused Thong of being ungrateful, and stealing the credit of Thach San. The palace blamed the princess for breaking her promise in the cave. After all, who would bring the princess back from the cave? Hearing the sound of the piano, the princess woke up, laughed, and talked. The king was happy to hear the princess explain the matter clearly. The king immediately ordered Thach San to be released and Thong arrested and imprisoned. Next, the king married Thach San and the princess and passed the throne to Thach San. The king assigned full authority to Thach San to punish Thong. Thach San forgave Thong's crime and allowed mother and son to return to their hometown to do business. But in the middle of the road, there was a storm. The evil Thong and his mother were struck by lightning and died. Thong turned into a scarab beetle and lived in dirty places all his life. Knowing that Thach San had married Princess Queen Na and ascended the throne to rule the world, the princes and princesses of the 18 vassal countries, who had come to unsuccessfully propose to the princess, were extremely jealous. They sent troops to cause trouble with Thach San and the princess. Thach San and the princess came out to welcome them kindly. The sound of Thach San's lute clearly distinguished between right and wrong, making the soldiers of the vassal countries soften and become discouraged. Those who missed their mothers missed their fathers, those who loved their children missed their wives. Everyone wanted to return home and was afraid of fighting. In the end, the vassal states all agreed to retreat. Thach San invited them to dinner. He had a small pot of magical rice, but no matter how many bowls he stirred, the rice was still full, making the vassal countries even more respectful.